All right, so our headliner tonight is none other than Tony Scelzo. He is the founder of Rainmakers, but now he is also the president of String Can. The String Can team gets to know your business inside and out, and they work with you to design and execute a unique campaign based on your teach marketing process. Your integrated sales and marketing strategies could include teleeducation, web design, email marketing, social media, webinars, live events, and more, because they help their partners turn target prospects into ideal clients. And he's also a really good friend of mine. Could you give a big round of applause as Tony Scelzo comes to speak to us this evening? Woo! Green.
How's everybody doing? Good? Man, it's been a while. I miss you guys. I want to tell you a quick story, and it's about a big question. The question is why? I want you to think about this for a second. Why are you here? Why did you start your business? Why are you selling? Why did you do what you did today? Why are you going to get up tomorrow and do it again? Think about this really critically for a second. Think about it. How many of you remember about 7, 8 years, actually it was probably 20 years ago, when Mike Tyson was really the best boxer in boxing? You guys remember that? Remember when he was indestructible, right? Remember when no one could beat him? So there's this guy that he was supposed to box. A lot of us don't know this, that he actually had this really big title bout coming up, and he was supposed to box this guy, but this guy backed out at the last second, and he got this other bout with this guy named Buster Douglas. You guys remember Buster Douglas? Yeah? Buster Douglas, little-known Detroit guy. Buster Douglas, Michigan, thank you. Buster Douglas got this opportunity to box for the heavyweight championship of the world. Can you imagine? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I boxed long enough enough to get hit on the nose about 15 times in a row to realize I wasn't a very good boxer. Has anybody ever done anything long enough to realize they suck at it? Right? Okay. That was me in boxing. So Buster Douglas, professional boxer, right? Not very good in the world ranking, but guess what? He had the opportunity, right, to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. I mean, really Mount Everest of what you're doing. You hear what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine just being this average guy and then have a chance to get to the pinnacle of what you're here to do? So he does. And he's like, and guess what his mom says? His mom was a hairdresser, okay? His mom was a hairdresser, and she said, you know, my son is going to knock Mike Tyson out. Can you imagine? Like, can you imagine what Buster Douglas was saying? Hey, Mom, shut up. This guy's knocking people out in 3 rounds. Hey, Mom, don't piss him off, right? 48 hours before the fight, his mom died. She had been telling people over and over that my baby boy is going to knock Mike Tyson out. My baby boy is going to knock Mike Tyson out. So 48 hours at the funeral, what did he do? What did he do? He promised his mom he was going to knock Mike Tyson out, didn't he? Knock him out. So the fight happens. They get into it, and 2 things happen. 2 things that have never happened before to Mike Tyson. Buster Douglas got knocked down. You remember? And guess what he did? He got up. Never happened before to Mike Tyson. Never been seen before. He got up. The second thing he did, what did he do? What did he do? He knocked Mike Tyson down. Mike Tyson had never been knocked down before. And then it was over. His why was clear. His why was specific. He needed to knock Mike Tyson out. Right? Because he had promised his mom. Do you guys have a why that clear? In fact, what is your why? Is it that specific? Do you know that your purpose in life is to do one thing and to do one thing well? Is it motivating enough to get you to face something that is bigger than life? I'm asking you, seriously. Because when I've talked to thousands of you before, I've had coaching sessions with many of you. And when you talk to me about your why, what you talk about is my family. Admirable, right? You talk about God. Great. You talk about things. Could be a house. Could be a car. Could be something that you want or covet. But is it amazing enough? Is it powerful enough to get you to face your greatest fear? I'm asking you, is it? This is the time to ask yourself this question. You have one life to live. And you have this year to live it in, to make a difference, to change the world. Would your why change the world? Is it as big as Buster Douglas? Is it as big as people that you know that are changing their worlds? Is it? Can your why change the world? It's a big question, isn't it? It's one to ponder right now. Because your purpose in life is defined by what you decide your why is. Now, sitting with many of you through coaching, I know that you ponder this question. You ask yourself, can I change the world? Am I that kind of person? Well, let's talk about Steve Jobs. Is he any greater than you? Does anybody know who Eric Thomas is? Eric Thomas is called the hip-hop speaker, right? Or the hip-hop preacher. He wrote a book out of Michigan State. He couldn't even graduate. It took him 8 years to get his master's. 8 years. But his why was he wanted to make his mom proud for investing a decade of her life in him so he could go to school. Big why, right? Steve Jobs was adopted, and he wanted to show and thank his parents for choosing him, saying, this is the person and human being that I'm going to take care of, that I'm going to take their life in my hands and make sure they change the world. And guess what he did? He said, I want to do that for them. My dad decided to move from New York because he wanted to raise his family on a farm. We bought 110 acres. He didn't know what the heck he was doing. He drove around a circle and ended up in the middle of a field because he was going to revolutionize farming, all because he wanted to change his kids' world. And he defined it clearly. It's a big deal what you decide your why is. My why is right here. The reason you're in this room, the reason there is a Rainmakers is this human being right here. I wanted my daughter to be proud of me. I wanted a lot of people to speak well of me. I wanted people like you to talk to her someday and say, this guy has helped a lot of people help their businesses get to another level. That's my why. She moved. I decided, hey, if she moved to California, I better create a business that can go and be with her. I'm going to make lemons out of lemonade. And I started another business. That's why I don't spend as much time with you as I'd love to. Why you? Why have you been called today to do what you're doing? Why are you being tasked with these tough challenges that are in front of you as a business owner, as a salesperson? Why? Because God has a plan for you. God knows that you're playing small. This is how you live. This is how big you could be. You got to make some tough choices. You got to write it down on paper. You got to be okay when other people criticize your moves because they don't like what you're doing. They don't think it's right, or why couldn't you just do this? You're going to have people throw darts at you, and they're going to say your way is not the right way. It's called being in business. It's called living on purpose. And it's one of the most important things you can do this year is to get clear on your why. To get clear on what you're here to do. God gave you all these gifts. Some of you are blaming the politics that's out there, the economy, whatever. Your spouse, your former spouse, but you're playing small. I'm here to tell you, it's time to step up. It's time to really embrace your why. It's time to get your head around it and make 2013 this year because you deserve it. And you're here to do it. That's my why, to tell you that today.
I don't need a whole lot of money. I don't need.
Woo! Give him another round of applause. That was awesome. That was awesome. Man.